life and accomplishments of poliomyelitis. Hello, my name is poliomyelitis, but you can call me Polio for short. In 1799, Michael Underwood was the first person to clinically encounter me. He documented that I caused debility of the lower extremities. I'm contracted by drinking contaminated water. However, I can be spread by saliva and waste. I am not easily detected because my symptoms are similar to that of a cold. However, soon I grow stronger and attack the spinal cord, causing muscle spasms. This issue can worsen and cause paralysis. Since Michael Underwood's encounter, I stayed back for a while. Although in 1911 I hit Sweden. Then in 1912 I struck Buffalo, New York. These feats were nothing like the epidemic in 1916 when I began my journey to the United States. In that year, I demolished America. In 20 states, 22,000 people were paralyzed, and 2,179 people were dead. Because of all the trauma I caused in America, I am known as the worst epidemic in U.S. history. After causing a multitude of disease and death in America, the Americans decided to fight against me. They started their research and figured out how I was transmitted from person to person. This then led America to quarantine homes that had affected people living in them, and constant reminders were sent out to clean everything. America was still battling my epidemic when I struck my most famous victim yet, soon-to-be President Franklin D. Roosevelt, when he was 39 in 1921. FDR appeared to be getting better until August 1921. On the morning of August 11th, Mr. Roosevelt's knees weakened and gave way. From this moment on, I took Franklin's ability to walk. New physical therapy and other medical procedures were invented to allow my victims to relax their taut muscles. One of these techniques was to submerge the patient in warm water. In America, a place called Warm Springs was opened in Warm Springs, Georgia. It specialized in the warm water technique. Franklin D. Roosevelt devoted 7 years in Warm Springs, trying in vain to regain control of his legs. This amount of time he spent at the center led him to love and care about it. This same love drove him to buy Warm Springs. During 1931, I was spreading rapidly. So many people were infected, and more people were dying because of paralysis of the lungs, which caused them not to breathe. In hopes to fix this major issue, a man by the name of Philip Drinker created a machine known as the iron lung. The iron lung was basically a machine that the patient lied down in. Then, the iron lung would press on their lungs, allowing the patient to breathe. Philip Drinker's machine saved many lives, but still wasn't close to ending my epidemic.
Polio, 1956. This is the way it looked. This is the way it sounded. You are listening to the breath of life as it is pumped by these tank respirators called iron lungs.
Much to my satisfaction, Warm Springs, the foundation working against me, was losing money. So Franklin D. Roosevelt handed the reins to reluctant Basil O'Connor in 1928. For the next few years, Basil O'Connor tried different fundraising ideas, but it wasn't until 1938 that the monumental March of Dimes was established. The March of Dimes asked every American to donate at least one dime to Warm Springs. Unfortunately, this fundraiser was successful in making around $2 million in the first year. The money aided in defeating me, so it was held annually after that.
And I like a diamond change, too.
Are you saving him, Mickey?
I'm going to give mine to President Roosevelt. president? Why, Mickey?
Yes, you see, Judy, I've got my envelope made out right here. It's all ready to go. See for yourself.
Oh, I know. That's a March of Dimes, the Infantile Paralysis Fund.
That's right. And, Judy, when I spend a dime on myself for some little luxury like this, I always think about those unfortunate kids and how far just a dime will go toward helping.
Gee, Mickey, we don't know how lucky we are and how much we have to be thankful for with our health and our happiness.
Judy, and that's why we should do all that we can to help all of those who can't help themselves.
I know. Can I put a dime in your envelope?
Oh, you know that you can. And that's what every good American should do. Join the March of Dimes. Send yours to President Franklin Roosevelt in the White House.
Washington, D.C.
In the 1940s, a woman from Australia, whose name was Elizabeth Kenny, better known as Sister Kenny, came up with a new method of physical therapy for polio patients. I was shocked. How dare Sister Kenny try to reverse the effects of my lovely disease? Her treatments included hot water and exercise. Her revolutionary methods caught on as the Sister Kenny method. With this method, doctors and nurses saw 20 to 40% of patients recovered. Now, Sister Kenny is known as the mother of physical rehabilitation. However, in my mind, she is known as the mother of polio reversal. I was getting stronger and stronger, so America decided to begin the long and strenuous process of developing a vaccine. In 1947 to 1950, Dr. Jonas Salk, one of my worst enemies, was chosen to work on the vaccine. After a couple of years of work on the vaccine, in 1952, Salk went to D.T. Watson's Home for Crippled Children to test his killed virus vaccine on the children. The test succeeded without any children ill, and their antibody count against me went up. Then, in 1954, Salk tested 1,839,000 children in 217 health districts in 44 states. His vaccine worked and polio rates went down. This was the first time I became scared that America might actually eradicate me. After Dr. Salk's success through manufacturing a killed virus vaccine, a man named Dr. Albert Sabin began working on a live virus oral vaccine, which he hoped would have faster results than Salk's vaccine. In 1962, Sabin's vaccine replaced Salk's and has been a success all over the world since then. Dr. Sabin's vaccine revolutionized the fight against me. However, much to my joy, I am still traveling the globe, affecting several underprivileged countries in Africa and Asia. In 2012, I hit Nigeria and caused 122 cases of my disease. However, using Sabin's vaccine, this count is now down to 0. My epidemic generated exploration in technology and medical equipment. Scientists, leaders, and polio activists exchanged their triumphs and failures regarding my disease. Countless families encountered losses in their homes, communities, and ultimately, their countries. Political leaders and communities strive to turn their grief into a desperation to defeat me. It was because of me new technology was created. It was because of me people had a common goal and worked together to defeat me. And it is because of the terror that I caused that I was eradicated.